What's good, good people, and welcome to the Silly, Nerdy, Sometimes Wordy podcast, and I'm your host, BK, and this is episode 36, 2024, NFL Coaching Hires, A Fan's Perspective, Part 1, New England Patriots. In this episode, I'll be covering the recent NFL coaching cycle that just came to an end, focusing first on the New England Patriots and what the new head coach is walking into, some background on them, as well as some nerdy notes on some Arrowverse actors doing non-Arrowverse projects. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody has been doing well. It has been a minute since I've done an episode. Excited to do this episode. We're going to get right into it. Now, let's get into the nerdy notes. And in this episode for the nerdy notes, I'm going to be focusing on some TV and film, specifically for the Arrowverse. And for those of you that watch those DC-related Arrowverse shows on the CW network, or if you were like me, you waited until it came on Netflix or Max to watch it. And there are some projects that former Arrowverse stars are doing some new things, and I just wanted to bring some attention to it. So first, if you remember the flagship show that started it all, the Arrow show, there is a movie coming out called Calamity Jane, and it stars Emily Bett Records, who played the Felicity Smoke character on Arrow, and Stephen Amell, who played Oliver Queen / Green Arrow on the Arrow show. They will be in this Calamity Jane movie, which is set to be released on February 2nd, 2024. It will be on digital as well as some select theaters, and particularly I know it's going to be on Apple TV and Tubi. And this Calamity Jane film is directed by Terry Miles. It also stars Tim Rosen, among others. It's an old Western type of movie. Emily is the lead, and the premise of the movie, per Entertainment Weekly, it is, quote, rocked with grief, Calamity Jane, played the Emily's character, breaks out of prison and embarks on a dark journey of revenge to bring his wild Billy Hickok, that's Stephen Amell's character, killer down. And she just kind of goes on a little rampage, kind of revenge, trying to find the killer of the love interest. And it just, the trailer looks amazing. It's just cool to see Emily doing something completely different from her character on Arrow. And it just got me really excited about it. I definitely want to, obviously I'm going to watch the movie and probably going to do a review on it. And again, it's set to be released on February 2nd in select theaters across the nation. And I know it's going to be on Apple TV, and it looks like it's going to be on Tubi, at least those two digital platforms. And some other former Arrowverse stars, if you have watched Legends of Tomorrow, that was another Arrowverse show, the character of Astra, she has been on NCIS Sydney, which that first season has recently just come to an end. She has been the lead agent on that show, playing Special Agent Michelle Mackey. I've enjoyed that NCIS show. Of course, I like all of the NCIS shows. I hope it will get renewed for a season 2. But that is another Arrowverse star that has been doing non-Arrowverse things. Another person, Michelle Benoist, she obviously played Supergirl, and She has a show coming out soon on Max called Girls on the Bus. That will be debuting in March. And also, one more Arrowverse star, the character of Wild Dog, played by Rick Gonzalez. If you've been watching Law and Order Organized Crime, he's been in that show as well for the last couple of seasons on Law and Order Organized Crime. So great to see them doing, non-Arrowverse stuff outside of those shows. Okay. So let's now get into our main topic and focusing on the recent head coaching cycle, which just came to an end. So there were only two more head coaching vacancies that were open. That was the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Commanders. Now, a few days ago, the Seahawks reportedly named their head coach, and it looks like he has signed his contract per reports. Mike Macdonald, the former now Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, has signed and agreed to become the new head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And then today, reportedly, Dan Quinn, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons years ago, and most recently, he's been the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. He will become the new head coach of the Washington Commanders, per reports of insiders of, Ian Rappaport, Pelissero of NFL Media, and of course, Adam Schefter of ESPN. They have reported that he will be the next head coach of the Washington Commanders, and that new ownership, which also includes Magic Johnson in the ownership group, if you didn't know. Now, I am focusing on, I believe it was the first head coach that was hired, the New England Patriots. On January 12th, it was reported that Gerard Mayo was named the head coach, and then he was introduced on his press conference on January 17th, 2024. At the time, he was the youngest head coach at 37, but now that Mike Macdonald has been named the head coach of the Seahawks, he's now the youngest head coach because Mike Macdonald is 36. However, 37, he's still one of the youngest head coach. Gerard Mayo is an African-American. And a little bit about him, he is a former player. He was a linebacker. He went to the University of Tennessee. He was drafted in the 2008 NFL draft in the first round, number 10 overall. He played all of his seasons, which I believe was 8 seasons, I think, with the New England Patriots. He retired after the 2015 season. He was also named captain for 7 straight seasons, not including his rookie year. And he was also on that 2015 Super Bowl 49 winning team. And if you remember that Super Bowl, that was the Super Bowl that included the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks. And particularly the thing that sealed that game was Seattle drove down the field. They got on the goal line. And instead of running the ball in, handing it to Marshawn Lynch, Pete Carroll decided to throw the ball on the goal line. And that is when Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball. I believe it was a slant play. And he intercepted the pass that sealed the game for the Patriots. And that gave them another Super Bowl win for Tom Brady. And so he was on that team. Gerard Mayo then stepped away from coaching a bit, and then he started coaching inside linebackers in 2019. And then he's been on the New England Patriots coaching staff for the last 5 seasons. And interesting enough, apparently it was written into his contract that he would be the next head coach of the New England Patriots once Bill Belichick retired or they parted ways. Obviously, they parted ways, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots. So it was written into his contract for a few years that Gerard Mayo would be the next head coach of the New England Patriots. So he is going to be the new head coach, and he's going to be much different from Bill. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of the same principles and qualities, but in terms of personality and how things are done, it's going to be different. And it looks like he's not going to have all of the power in terms of personnel that Bill had, but he will have input on it, but he will not be the end all be all. So the things, what he's walking into, obviously he's been there for the last 5 seasons. The team needs to figure out the quarterback position. Obviously they drafted Mac Jones out of Alabama a couple years ago. It hasn't worked out. He had a great rookie season. He digressed his second season, and they've kind of been going back and forth. Bailey Zappi has been playing as well, and they nearly need to figure out the quarterback position. I believe Nathan Rourke is also on the roster, the other quarterback listed on the roster. That offense has not been producing a lot of points, so that's something that needs to be addressed. The defense has been playing really well despite the record and what's been going on with them, but the defense has been still pretty consistent. So the Patriots hold the number 4 overall draft pick, so they could get one of those quarterbacks, possibly not the top 3, obviously. So we'll see what they do in the draft. They have the potential to maybe trade up one spot if one of the 3 teams above them is willing to do that. They could also trade back and get a lot of picks, or they could also explore the free agent or trade market. So just a few names they could attack. Maybe Justin Fields, but it's been reported that maybe Atlanta there, but they could explore a trade option for Justin Fields, maybe Kirk Cousins, depending on his injury, maybe even Trey Lance, Ryan Tannehill, Gardner Minshew, Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe Desmond Ridder. I don't know. But those are just a couple of names that they could pursue via the trade market, via free agency. There are some others as well, but they definitely need to address the quarterback position. I would also say the wide receiver and running back, they need to get speed as well. So the offense needs to improve. And I'm not sure if he has hired his offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. That's going to be an important hire as well, what he is going to do that. And just continue to, stay consistent with the defense because it's been pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. And the division that they're in, it's tough as well because Buffalo, they're still going to be good with Josh Allen. Miami Dolphins are still going to be pretty good. So we'll see. The Jets should be improved with Aaron Rodgers coming back from his injury. The Jets defense still being pretty great, and them making some minor improvements with their offense, particularly on the offensive line for the Jets. So we'll see how that goes, but that's what Gerard Mayo has to do in terms of turning that team around within that division, and then just the AFC overall. It's tough, that conference is. But that's my thoughts on the New England Patriots and the new head coach of the New England Patriots, former player Gerard Mayo. We'll see how they do in free agency and as well as what they do in the NFL draft or possibly trade. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that team. I hope you liked it. I'm planning to do 7 more of these with all the coaching hires that have happened with the other teams. So kind of the same format that I plan to do. So be on the lookout for those. And thanks for those that you are still listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. And if you see any polls, please participate in those as well. Tell a friend and share this with people. Really appreciate you guys listening, both domestically and internationally. All right. That is all I have for you today. And until next time, we will talk soon.